What is up, guys? Thanks for jumping here back again in my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about ADA, Cardano's native token, and we're going to talk about the risk metric. I've seen that a lot of you guys like the risk metric. You guys appreciate it a lot. So today we're going to use the risk metric for the ADA to USD chart as well as the ADA to BTC chart. So I can help you and teach you how to swap between coins. Why to, for example, switch from ADA to Bitcoin, and when to switch from Bitcoin to ADA. For those that are new here, I always repeat this risk metric is private. I did it by myself, so I'm sorry you can't use it. But if you're interested in it, make sure to leave a comment down below or like email me. I have an email. I also do like private courses for those interested. Let's begin with the Cardano to USD chart, ADA to USD chart. So as you can see here, for those that are new here, I'm gonna explain it briefly. We have like 10 parts. This risk metric goes from 0 to 10. And whenever the risk is lower than 4, then it's historically speaking that it's a good time to buy, and whenever it's above 6, then it's a good time to sell. Some people like to delete, for example, these two lines. I like to do this. Have a more aggressive approach. For example, I just buy whenever the risk is lower than 3 and sell whenever the risk is lower than above than 7. Whenever the risk metric goes super low, then historically speaking, it's good to accumulate. It's an amazing time to accumulate. We are in the accumulation phase. So yeah, and whenever the risk is high, then we should be cautious because it may indicate a crash, for example, or a major pullback. I give you a small example. Here, for example, the risk was at around the level of 1 and 2 in between, and the risk went up. Boom! It shot up to the sky. It went up to 8. For me, when the risk is over 7, we are entering a super risky area. We can still reach like close to 10. 9.5, close to 10, but yeah, from 7.5, we are entering a very risky area. So yeah, if for example you bought when the risk was 1, and you sold at the bottom, at the top, whenever the risk was at the top, you would have made at least a respectable, let's say, a 4x. Yeah, a 4x. 300%. Let's say you didn't do this. Let's say you bought exactly when the risk was at around 3, and you sold when the risk was at 7. Okay, let's say you sold when the risk was here at 7. You bought from here when the risk was at where? Okay, let's take it here, and you would have sold here when the risk was at 7. Okay, let's take it. You would have made a minimum of 60%. Okay, a minimum of 60% to the upside, of course. For those that didn't sell here, for those, I never buy in the red area, this area. I never buy in it. I never advise. I don't even advise my enemies to buy here, because they're gonna lose a lot of money. You can still make money. For example, if you bought here when the risk was at 7, and you just like held, you would have made a profit of 72%. That's amazing. That's really amazing. But for me, it's super risky, because sometimes we just reach, for example, these areas, and then we just crash. For example, for those that bought here in mid 2020, let's say they bought here when the risk was at 7. And they would have expected like the same thing to happen as it did in the early of 2019. They would have lost a lot of money. They would have lost like 50%, like half of their portfolio of Cardano would have been wiped out. So yeah, as I said, I usually prefer to buy in these areas. I prefer to split my buys. For example, let's say I have $1,000. I'm gonna buy like with 200 here, 300 here, and I'm gonna buy with the rest whenever it touches like the 1 or goes slightly below it, because it's rare. Same thing when I sell like a bit here, I sell a lot here, and I sell the rest, like for example I sell the rest here. Let's have a look at the ADA to Bitcoin chart. Keep in mind that's the ADA to Bitcoin chart. This is not the ADA to USD. It's really different. This is mainly for the people that like to swipe between coins. They like to swap. For example, they have BTC holdings and they feel that it's risky. They switch to Cardano. They don't want to go into fiat. They don't want to pay taxes. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how to read this one. As I said, I prefer having a more programmatic approach. I prefer buying whenever the risk is below 3 and selling whenever it's above 7. But for those that like doing between 4 and 6, then it's fine. It depends on your risk tolerance, as I said. Okay. Here, historically speaking, whenever the risk is below, let's say 3, for example, you choose this approach, this programmatic approach, let's call it. It's a good time. The risk for ADA against Bitcoin is super low, which means then it's a good time. Historically speaking, it's a good time to switch your Bitcoin holdings into ADA. Okay, let's say you did it here when the risk was at below 3, and you would have sold at the top. You would have made at least 152%. Okay, at least 150. Yeah. Let's say you didn't have this approach. Let's say your risk tolerance isn't that high. You just buy whenever the risk is at uh, is at 4, and you just sell whenever the risk is at 6. You would have still, let's say here, the risk was here and the price was also here. You would have made at least a 47%. And keep in mind, this is the ADA to Bitcoin. A 47%, you're almost increasing your Bitcoin holdings by half. Let's say you had like 3 Bitcoins and you did this approach, you would have made like 1.5 other Bitcoins. You would have ended with 4.5 Bitcoins. Same thing here. If you bought here when the risk was low, if you switch from your Bitcoin holdings to Cardano, and you would just have waited and like sold here when the risk was high, you would have also made like almost the double. You would have doubled your Bitcoin holdings. Let's say you had like 10 Bitcoins, you would have ended up with 20 Bitcoins. So yeah, just by switching between coins. Uh, so yeah, I like to do this. I don't want to go into fiat. I hate taxes. So yeah, for me, swapping between coins is a good idea. Some like prefer like splitting the chart to three parts. They just buy whenever the risk is. Let me show. Some prefer buying whenever the risk is below, like let's say 3.5, which is also a good idea. It depends on you. It depends on your risk tolerance. This is just a chart after all. This is just maths and numbers and like informatics program. Yeah, computer science. So yeah, it depends on what you want. For me, this was an accumulation phase. This was also an accumulation phase. This was also a huge accumulation phase. This also in at the end of 2000. Let's say you are new into crypto, you have like some Bitcoin, you wanna like the risk with Bitcoin is super high and you are scared. What you could have done, for example, here, and you are new, you came like in 2020. The risk here was, for example, super low. This was an accumulation phase for Cardano against BTC, and you would have been at least up like at least a 54%, a 54%. So yeah, as I said, it depends on your risk tolerance. It depends on all these things. So that was about it, guys. It was a kind of short video. I don't like making like super long videos of 20 minutes talking. If you appreciate, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and leave a like. Also, if you're interested in the courses I mainly send like weekly updates. It's full of like these risk metric charts, and I have other indicators, private indicators, of course, that I did myself that you will get in the courses. It's basically nothing. The courses costs like $20 a month, and for like a yearly subscription, it's 200 bucks. This is nothing. This honestly nothing. It will help you a lot. You will get weekly updates for ADA, Chainlink, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, and you will get another coin of your choice. You will also have the chance to talk to me whenever you want. I will also send you like 4 hourly chart if you need them to day trade. So yeah, as I said, it's nothing. $20 a month is nothing. I do like a 3 month subscription for 55 bucks. 55 bucks for a 3 month subscription is also nothing. If you're interested, make sure to email me. Uh, and yeah, I love you so much, and thanks for the support, guys. It really means a lot.